On Beautiful People today, my guest is one of India's most iconic women. 16 years after she stormed into our collective consciousness, she's back to associating with the platform that catapulted her into being the person we know today as Sushmita Sen. It's wonderful to have you on Beautiful People. Give us an update on I Am She and the beauty pageant. That's what, about 3 weeks from the time we're speaking?
Yes, pretty much, pretty good. Well, it's been a ride. I got this franchise about October end, which was, the show was supposed to be held in February. We were on tender hooks whether to take it or not to take it, and the business part of it was a little bit of a disturbing thing, but it was like destiny coming a full circle. It was beautiful to accept this franchise, and considering when I won it, and I used to ask my travel manager back then, what if I wanted to hold like the Miss Universe India in my country, what would I have to do? So she'd say, you'd have to break the legacy that the Times of India has held it for 50 years. So I'd say, oops, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
So that brings me to the question that I'm dying to ask. How did you manage to break that monopoly or that relationship that the Bennett and Coleman group or the Times of India had with the Miss Universe franchise?
Anuradha, everything in my life has been pretty much destined. So the TOI and their franchise rights with the Miss Universe organization, which is now held by Donald Trump and NBC, it came to a natural end. They had their reasons for it. Frankly, none of my business. All I know is I got a call from the franchise owners and they said, would you like to take it? I jumped and said, yes. When do I have to do the show? And they said, February. And I said, wait, I have to call you back because it was too much.
What does the license, what does the franchise entail in terms of the business of it?
Quite a lot, actually. It's not a very new property. It's an old property. It's a franchise that's existed in India for 40 odd years. But then Bennett and Coleman brings in print, brings in every form of media. Yeah, media might. And sponsorships, it's an enormous event to put together. And without awareness for an event like this, you cannot get the quality of women that you want competing for a show like this. So in that sense, it was an enormous thing to look into. First and foremost, me getting a title presenter was important. So we decided not to go with a title, so we went with a presenting sponsor, which is Alchemist in this case. And God bless them, because it's an expensive show, and they came on board with complete faith and belief that I'd pull it off in that much time. Miss Universe, the show got pushed to August. So we got breathing space. And instead of February, the show can now happen in May. Then it was putting together the awareness. So we went through radio and OH and TV and print and looking at all different avenues to create that awareness. We could not do a pan-India selection in terms of city-wise or state-wise, but we did open it up through a very powerful internet base, so we can kind of collect database for years to come, because our age group is between 18 to 27. So what was incredible though, with the limited resources that we had, and of course we were coming up against a very powerful media baron on the other side, it was heartwarming to receive 10,000 plus entries in our first year, and spectacularly so, from the north, the west, some from the east. South we haven't been able to reach as much in the first year, but from next year we'll work on that. And then in came Sony, and now that we have our broadcasting partner, we're really excited, because again, they're working with us on creating this platform to be what it should be.
Yeah. So this is what happens after you won the franchise and all the different elements that will have to fall into place, right? Yes. But to win that franchise, besides Sushmita Sen and your brand getting associated with it, what else does it need? Or did you have to bid for it? Is there money involved? How does this work?
Of course, there's a franchise fees involved. Yeah. But you bid for it only if you have more than so many parties interested. So then there was no tender calling on it. B, I don't think too many people in India would have wanted to take this property if it meant taking it away from the Times of India. So for me, it was very simple. It was an emotional call. It was a pageant that I had won for my country the very first time. And the way I had interpreted it in my mind was very different from the way beauty pageants are perceived. For example, it's not called Miss anything.
Yeah.
It's not defined by great legs and beautiful eyes and lovely skin and gorgeous hair.
But that would help, I'm guessing.
Well, it would help if you were looking at sponsorship of that kind and nature. My sponsors are people who are not even an FMCG group. They don't even need to get on TV to market themselves. So I was very clear that there were not going to be beauty brands in the first year per se. But we're also not going to be apologetic about being beautiful. I mean, that's lovely. Why not? But the girls who are participating this year, they're all academically driven. There are lawyers, there are doctors, there are students, there are women whose natural progression in life will not be Bollywood. Having said which, I'm thrilled with the fact that if they want to be an actor, we'd help them do that too. But there is a need and a desire to be something else, far more freer, far more full of choices.
This is the way Sushmita Sen is interpreting the pageant. Is this the way the Miss Universe authorities finally interpret the pageant?
Miss Universe is an entirely different ballgame. It's more body confidence, it's more body beautiful, it's more sponsor driven. In that sense, it's high fashion, high glamour. That's Miss Universe today.
But the winner of the I Am She,
yes.
Should we call it a tournament?
Well, it is a sport, I'll tell you that. It is definitely a sport. It's all about a sporting attitude. But no, it's a very interesting thing you ask. See, I know where you're coming from. But when we decided to build this platform, we didn't call it that. In fact, when we called it I Am She, everybody kept coming to me, my marketing, PR, creative team, everybody'd come up and say, I Am She sounds like a concept, it's not an event. There's no urgency about it, you need to bring on something that's in your face. And I said, no, that's Miss Universe India, that's the property, that's the event. But I Am She is a concept. The whole point of getting these women every year together is for them to celebrate their uniqueness, to find what makes them different. Not for them to clone each other, or not for them to get on a platform and want to be Sushmita Sen or Lara Datta or Aishwarya Rai, but to want to be in themselves. That's why the concept remains. Now, sure enough, we have height restrictions. We have restrictions such as, well, height usually used to be 5'7" plus. We have 5'5s, so we've tried to break away with a few of those.
But Sushmita, surely
Language.
The idea is to...
Language.
Yeah, I've been reading about that,
Yeah,
that you will let...
I think that's so cool.
The India winner can speak in a language other than
Of their
English,
choice.
with aided by a translator. So that's very good. But the question is that the physical requirements, all of that does need to add up to be able to win the Miss Universe pageant ultimately, isn't it? So while you're breaking away
you're looking at
India,
me today.
Yeah.
Today, I'm 34 years old. I look a certain way. I've lived my life. I've had 34 years of experience with the way I look. That shows. We didn't meet when I was 18, did we?
No.
Well, you would have been horrified to think that I could win Miss Universe, and for the first time for my country. Lanky, you've seen pictures, so...
you have ruled popular imagination for a very long time, Sushmita.
Okay.
So we've seen you grow up and develop and get the experience.
So what I'm trying to say is, today, the barometer based on which the women have been selected for this, they're far more stunning than I was then, far more well-read, well-traveled, they're open to so many different mediums of expression that we weren't. It is easier for them to win this. So much so that there is a girl who's a part of our team. When you speak about beauty and height, and of course they're stunning, all of them are. And they've been picked on very many different criteria. But there's also a girl called Anuradha, for example. She has one eye. And it's not in any format in the world of a beauty pageant allowed, right? Doesn't matter. If she wins this, she will go for Miss Universe or nobody else will. So it's a stand you take as a national pageant, and then an international format either accepts it or not. So breaking away from what has been done to death for years, at least in our country.
So the question is the Miss Universe pageant ready for what Sushmita Sen is reconfiguring here in India?
I don't think they would have given me the franchise if they did not see it coming.